It's been a really long time since I made any sort of video about stationery. Specifically, bullet journaling was the thing that kicked this channel off, believe it or not. This is like a tech product review channel, but I've had this itch lately to, as I dive more and more into tech, to also set aside time for analog. I know a lot of you as well love the idea of e-ink devices and doing things that are a little more focused, even if it is tech related. And recently I came across a guy named Steven Schultz. Steven, if you ever see this video, I'm a huge fan and I've never met you, but I did just have a friend move to Chicago and you live there, so you guys should totally be friends. But I've been watching through his stuff and it got me a little inspired to dive back in a way. I have gotten this itch recently to do more with the content that I'm making, and so there's probably going to be more to come around the ideas that I have in mind for that. But today I really wanted to just talk about field notes and getting into this. So I remember circa 2012, 2013, I started up a folk Americana band in college with my buddy Andrew Steger, and he always had field notes and was super into using them and having a small pocket notebook and taking little notes on them, and I thought it was cool. I just really wasn't into that. I was tech heavy, even though we were in like a folk Americana band. I've always had this weird line between like tangible analog and digital and new and cutting edge. And so being where I live here in Roanoke, Virginia, we're kind of behind the times a little bit, small town vibes. So I grew up in that environment while also interested in Apple and Silicon Valley and stuff like that. Anyway, roundabout way of saying I picked some stuff up from Amazon because after watching some of Steven's videos, I thought it might be good for me to start to detach some of the things that are on my device from things that I want to be productive. And like I said early on this channel, I put out a video called like Productive Minimalist Bullet Journal, and that video got me over 6,000 subscribers. It was a huge topic at the time, but I didn't know how to keep going with it because I had no interest in keep going with it. I had my setup on my bullet journal to keep me productive, and that's really all I had to talk about. So now I'm interested in diving into the analog again, writing some things down, creating a volume of writings that either I can revisit in the future, my kids can have one day, or really, as Field Notes says, I'm not writing it down to remember it later, I'm writing it down to remember it now. And that struck me and is sticking with me because so much of writing and the practice of writing just helps you remember things. Not necessarily to go back to them and find them once you forget, but to remember it now by writing while keeping it in your short-term memory. So that's the idea there. I wanted to just quickly, for today's video, super long intro, but I wanted to just unwrap these here, and then also kind of walk through everything else that I have on my desk here, and then any sort of plans that I have moving forward. So let's just get started here with field notes. This will be my first ever pack of field notes ever, so it's kind of a big deal here for me, at least. I mean, it's a simple pocket notebook. It's not earth-shattering, but I don't know. This could be the start of something new for me, at least for the time being, if I could get into packaging. So I went with the black one, not necessarily because I wanted black, even though I do think it looks nice, but because the original craft, which I would have preferred probably, doesn't come in dotted, at least off of their website on Amazon. So this is the only one that I could find that comes with the dotted journal, and dotted is my absolute favorite type of journal. You can't convince me otherwise. Grid is too mathematical and like too much on the page. Lines are too structured in a way, and you can't really do much artwork with lines. So having dotted is going to be my way to go. So this Field Notes memo book is property of me. Pertinent coordinates, interesting. For internal records, start date, completion date, and location. In the event of misplacement, email address, and there might be a handsome reward waiting. That's cool. I love that. So my goal with this is currently I have a system where I use Ugmonk cards for my to-do lists. And if I ever have something that crops up, like I'm at home away from my Ugmonk cards, but I need to remember that to do, I put it in a note on my phone. So I want to try at least for a few days, a few weeks, to keep this in my pocket. And whenever I have a to-do crop up, I'll put it in here. I'll write it in here. Also, little ideas, thoughts for videos, instead of putting those in my phone, putting them in here. Oh, I need to smell it, huh? It smells like paper. But I knew keeping a pen in my pocket isn't the safest thing to do as far as ink going everywhere. But I was interested in the idea. I also didn't want a huge pen. Let me walk through, well, I'll get to this pen in here in a second. This is my normal pen that I love using every day. It's heavy. The ink could easily come out there, and that would be no fun. So I found the Space Pen by Fisher. So this, believe it or not, is a little pen. You can see that there. See it above, pull it out like this, put the back on, and now it's basically a full-sized pen. So I thought that was pretty cool. The reason it's called a space pen is not because it saves you space, even though it's going to, but the ink, you can basically write with it upside down. Gravity doesn't have anything to do with this pen. For your information, most ink actually uses gravity to bring the ink out. So this one doesn't need that. So if you didn't know that, little tip, little hint of knowledge for the day. So yeah, this is gonna be what I keep on me to write in my field notes in my pocket. 48 pages here, which is fantastic. So I'm into it. Manufactured in the US, love that. So anyway, that's the idea for sort of quick notes, thoughts, ideas, which may get transferred to my computer or might just stay in here as a reference point. I don't know for sure if I'm gonna keep this as my like running to-do list or if I'm gonna continue to use Ugmonk cards. I love Ugmonk cards. It's like super fantastic. Maybe I'll make a full video on that at some point, but this is what I've been doing. I had this idea, you know, I used to take all my notes on my iPad for church. Any sort of journaling I did on my iPad as well. I just like that experience. I like that it fixed my handwriting as well on the iPad, which is super cool. But I also realized, like, if anyone ever asked for my notes, I guess I could digitally send them to them. Or if my kids one day wanted to read through my writings, which I'm assuming my kids are gonna read through my writings, which probably won't happen, but I just like the idea, probably more so as I get older, of things sticking around a little bit longer. And I feel like that idea is like just starting within me. I used to not like that idea, you know, being minimalist. I don't like taking up a lot of space. I don't like having a bunch of junk, but this seems a bit manageable, and knowledge is, you know, priceless. All of my writings in here will be kind of cool. I just want to pop in and show kind of what I'm doing here. So every morning I'm just sort of writing a daily journal, and you can see I was just leaving one block basically of space around as the border, but I have switched to something a little more uniform with more white space. Here's a good example here, because I don't know, as I get more into like digital design and design in general, which I have a book that I just bought as well from Amazon about the grid system, which I might review at some point too, I'm not sure. I don't know, I've always loved good design, especially like with web design, with product design, you know, what fonts you're using, basically design. It's nothing new here, but for me, it's not something that I ever like invested time and effort into learning. And as I'm my own business owner again, I'm working on my websites, I'm working on potentially starting some other new brands. I'm just more and more interested in appearing nicely and stewarding every single part of my online brand well. So this is something else. Like, I want to see this in the morning and get excited because of the uniformity and how it looks and the spacing and all of this space here. So when I'm journaling in the morning, I leave basically 3 slots top, 3 slots side to side, as you can see here. And then each Sunday, I used to have a separate journal for my like Sunday notes for church, but I was like, why don't I just put them in the same thing? That's going to be more fitting. Church is a huge part of who I am and my walk with the Lord. So like, put it in your daily journals too. So each Sunday you'll see that I take notes this way. I usually do bullet points as little arrows. So with the 3 space on each side, it's a lot easier to sort of annotate the bullet points, or if I had little notes to write in the margins here, I have more of a margin to work with. So this is what this has looked like really in terms of the, you know, content menu here, the subject and the pages. Like right now I'm doing Easter week. Here I just had a great day. It was a great day and I wanted to make a note of that so I could look in here and be like, let me go read what happened that day. Why was it a great day? So that's really exciting to be able to pick this up in a few years and be like, why was this on page 43 a great day? And then be able to go read that. I think that's cool. Here's Ephesians, so the study that we're in. And then of course we have the month as well. Men's retreat I went on, there's February, so just keeping notes of little things like that. There's plenty of space here for that. I am already probably a third of the way through, maybe a fourth of the way through this journal. I've definitely got plenty of space here. I'm not worried about running out. So yeah, that's all I have for this journal. Another thing is I'm considering working on some more like courses. A buddy of mine, Ben, my editor here on the channel, we put out a course on how to basically get started on YouTube. It was called The Lazy YouTuber, but I thought maybe it would be cool to do some sort of like bullet journaling course, since that video did so well so many years ago and people are still into bullet journaling and productivity in general. So that could work. So I've thought about doing like a bullet journal course. The reason I said that is this is how I'm currently all I'm doing for writing, but I might dive back into some bullet journaling and some of the stuff that were in those original videos that still stick with me and still help a lot of people to this day. So that's potentially on the horizon, which is cool. But last thing I wanted to talk about here was the Ugmonk pen that I use. This is the bolt action, like olive green, I think. And the heft here, the bolt action nature of the pen, the ink feel, everything is so nice. And I like how heavy this pen is. It literally feels like a long bullet or something. It's kind of crazy. But this is sort of my pairing here for my daily writing. And of course I can't keep this in my pocket. I mean, I could, but I'm glad I have the little space pen here for my little notes on the side. But that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know, like, did you make it this far? Is this something, as a subscriber to this channel, is this something you would like to see a little side series on? I mean, we usually review tech products, but this could be a cool place to maybe talk about thoughts that I have or notes in the analog, if you will. So I've got a lot of ideas coming up. I feel really invigorated right now, if that's the right word. Potentially working on an app. I mean, I am working on an app right now, and I'm thinking about potentially making sort of a journaling system / an actual journal. That would be a dream come true, but an actual stationary journal that you could buy that uses the same sort of system that the app is going to use. So there's just a little hint there. It's super new. Like, it's very possible tomorrow this could all fall apart, but I wanted to hint at it, see if that's something you're interested in. And then finally, I want to have ongoing discussion here. If you have thoughts of what I've picked up here, any suggestions on how best to take care of these or what to do with them or how best to write in them, any of that stuff, I'd appreciate down in the comment section below. Of course, I'm new here to the whole field notes vibe. So thanks so much for watching. Normally on this channel, we help you discover intentionally designed and well-made products so that you can live a calmer, more focused life. We like products that marry form and function. And I think for a notebook, this does that. And for a pen, this does that. We'll have to see how good it is at writing. But if this sounds cool to you, please feel free to subscribe, like this video for more, hype it up if you would. Let me know if you enjoyed. Watch this video next. I think you're gonna love it. And we'll see you all in the next one.